So your plan needs to be a living and breathing thing, but it's going to be a lot better for you if you have one so that you can work off of it and you can kind of ebb and flow with it and you can continue to make sure you're heading in the right direction. So I think your purpose in a lot of ways is the alignment between the foundation, the vision, and the plan.
You're listening to the Accredited Investors Only podcast presented by Accredited Life.
Hello and welcome to the Accredited Investors Only podcast presented by Accredited Life. I am your host, Peter Neill. Thank you so much for being with me today. We're going to be picking back up with our series on living the accredited life. And today we're going to be talking about crafting and living your purpose. So over the last few episodes, we've been talking about the different stages of how to live your accredited life. And before, I'm going to summarize that for you, but before we do, I do want to summarize what the podcast is and why you should be listening and who should be listening. So, like I said, you are listening to the Accredited Investors Only podcast. This podcast is designed exclusively for accredited investors, and we teach accredited investors how to live, work, and invest as accredited investors. So, what exactly does that mean? An accredited investor is somebody that makes there's the income approach and there's the net worth approach. So a net worth approach would be at least $1 million in net worth, not including your primary residence, or it could be through the income approach, which is $200,000 as an individual that you're making for the last 2 years, or $300,000 with your spouse for the last 2 years. So you can Google that, accredited investor. It's not something I made up. It's made up by the SEC. And you can Google accredited investor, look into the definition. It's a little bit, there's more to it than what I said there, but for the most individuals, that's where they're going to be falling in through the income or through the net worth approach. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again, this podcast is designed exclusively for accredited investors. However, anybody can listen to the podcast. I think you're going to get a lot out of it, and you're going to learn some tips and tricks and be introduced to a lot of cool and different opportunities and alternative investment strategies, whether you're accredited or not. For the most part, probably most of them will be opened exclusively to only accredited investors, but there's a lot to take away beyond that as well. Now, like I said, this is presented by Accredited Life. Accredited Life is a mastermind community that I run that we do what we do on the podcast, but we take it a lot deeper and we have some conversations around it. It is exclusively for accredited investors where we come together on a weekly basis and talk about kind of everything that's going on that could affect positively or negatively your alternative investing portfolio. So let's get right into it. We've been talking about over the last few episodes living the accredited life. That was something that I've come up with years ago that kind of defines my vision of what a successful life for me looks like. And it was kind of something that came out of my introduction many, many years ago to alternative investing and all the different options there are outside of traditional stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So I think one thing I've noticed dealing with a whole lot of successful people over the years through our funds and through networking events and different groups and activities and things like that, is there's certain things that highly successful people do that maybe other people that aren't as successful don't do. And I kind of broke them out into 7 stages here. I like to say, on this podcast and especially in the community, I love talking about numbers. I like to get into the nitty gritty. I am very much a numbers guy, but it's so important to take the time to reflect, to take the time to think about, what it is that you're built on. What's the foundation you've created? What have you been doing all these years? Why have you been doing it? It's good to create goals and kind of vision boards and things like that, and take the time to think about where you're heading, the actions and the things that you're doing today and where that's going to lead you tomorrow. It's important to see our everything we're doing there, is it aligned with our purpose and what we think our purpose may be? And are we always asking why and trying to find what that purpose is in all different levels of our lives and in different things that we do? And then kind of provide some tips and tricks and mindset around how to get through the hard times, how to get through challenges, how to celebrate and successes and things like that. As an accredited investor, chances are, whether you went out and you built your wealth all of yourself or you inherited, there's still a lot that would need to go into staying accredited, right, and continuing to generate wealth. So chances are you've had a lot of success and you've had a lot of challenges along the way as well. And you've been given through this definition, accredited investor, an amazing opportunity. And it's not something that I think you should take for granted. And I think that this opportunity awards you with it opens a door to invest in all kinds of different alternative investments that aren't available to the average everyday person. So I think it's very important that you take advantage of that. And this way you can create a wonderful life for yourself, your family, the people and the loved ones around you, and for your employees, maybe if you're running a business or whatever it may be. So part of your legacy, in giving back and all that kind of stuff, not only to the people around you, but to the greater community as well. Hopefully that's something that's part of your goals and part of your legacy. So I'll kind of go over the 7 stages as we have before, and today we're going to really take a close look at living your purpose, and maybe provide some tips and things like that around how to find your purpose. So as we've discussed on previous shows, it all starts with your foundation. So hopefully by now you've done that. If not, take the time. This is a lifestyle. I'm presenting these in a kind of linear fashion. Revisit and revise your foundation. Perfect this vision and then create goals and a plan to get there and all that kind of stuff. It's linear, right? But at the same time, this is something that this is a lifestyle. I think this is a mindset. That's why I call it living your accredited life. This is something that you need to look at and change the way you look at everything in your mindset and your perspective on life and all that, and run it through, these different kind of channels and things like that I think it's going to help you to be more focused and know when you're working towards your purpose or you're maybe getting further away from it or something like that. So it all starts with knowing your foundation. It's kind of like a life assessment, taking stock on the person you are today and why you are that person, looking at maybe some of the limiting beliefs that you have, some of the strong beliefs that have gotten you to where you are today. And I can't suggest enough to get that in writing to really have a good picture of who it is that you are, what you're built on, why you are that way, all that kind of stuff. Once you know that, you can really start to have fun with it and start to really dream and create a really amazing vision for your current life and where you're heading now, right now, and where you're going in the future, kind of where the day-to-day experience and the steps you're taking each day, where that's leading you down the line and all. So one of the things we kind of shared before was kind of that it's somewhat morbid for such a fun activity, though, with creating a vision and really dreaming, is to look at your obituary. What do you want it to read? What do you want it to say? What are the things that you want people to remember you for? What are the accomplishments and the goals, the BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goals that you've wanted to achieve by them? Who did you want to give to and really highlight in your life and in your legacy, all that kind of stuff. So this is something to have fun with. This is something, to really think out of the box. I shared before in the podcast, your only limitation here is what you can come up with and what you can dream. And this is a good activity too, to spot some limiting beliefs that you may have when you're thinking about these things. Obviously we want to be realistic, but put that aside at first and kind of get out of the box, and think about things that maybe you've never thought about before, and have fun with it. See what kind of limiting beliefs and voices that come up that say, "Oh, you can't do that," or you're never going to do that's too much, or and see it and ask why it's there, and I think there's a lot that can be learned in this process as well. From there, once you have a really good idea of the vision and where you're heading and all that, and where you're at now, all that kind of stuff, then you're going to start to craft the plan. So you're going to start to think about what are the steps that you need to take in order to make this dream a reality. And this is where you want to start to get realistic and understand probably not everything. If you got to lose 50 pounds, which is something I know plenty about, that's not going to happen overnight, and there's one thing when in the episode where I talked about crafting your plan and all that I didn't bring up that I really want to bring up today. It's about commitment, and you really have to commit. So you've created this vision, and now part of the plan is committing, and it's actually putting it into action. So I think it's worthy to take the time to think about it, to kind of write it out, and put it into words and have some idea of the steps you're going to have to take and get realistic. But at the end of that, it's very important that you commit and you work towards it. I think all of us as accredited investors and having success in certain parts of our lives know that perseverance is everything, right? And we're going to have successes and failures, and we address that in the stages to come. And we learn how to handle them and how to deal with them and all that kind of stuff, and getting back up, moving ahead, learning from mistakes and challenges and things like that is what makes us stronger, better, more successful people. So it all starts with the commitment and to making a commitment to make that dream a reality. Today, well, like I said, we're going to talk about living your purpose, which is really the alignment of the foundation, the vision, and the goals and the plan that you've put forth. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about that. To touch upon the other 3 stages, living your life, that's all about the choices that you make. Are they leading you closer to the vision? Are they getting you closer to, are they working towards your purpose, or are they maybe taking you further away, or are they, are they against in some way, shape, or form? Are you creating some cognitive dissonance in your life where you say you want to do one thing, or you want this or that, but the steps, the actions you're actually taking are maybe leading you towards that? That's going to create some problems and maybe some unnecessary stress in your life. So it's also about just rolling with the punches too, living your life day by day, understanding that, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and there's ways that we can deal with each of those. We want to not take for granted what has the blessings that we have, and we want to, not just fly right past the mistakes and things like that either. We want to take the time to learn from them and see how they can better ourselves moving forward. From there, we're going to learn how to love your life. I think that's so important, for so many of us. It's, we take so much time in our business, and in our investing, where we're constantly talking to people, networking, reading. I do courses all the time, all kinds of different stuff, and from underwriting to analysis to due diligence, reading all types of different books on business and how to structure, how is systemizing and creating great systems, and you name it, marketing, branding. There's so much that we can fill our heads with. It's important that we take the time to appreciate what it is that we have. Like I said, such a big part of living your accredited life is not taking for granted the amazing opportunity that you have as an accredited investor to make some really, to invest in some really powerful alternative investments that are going to change your life, and it's going to make the life of the people around you better. So we're going to talk about that in a future episode. And then the last stage is embracing the quiet. So a lot of this is reflection, but a lot of it is it's active as well. There's a balance between, there's 2 sides of all these stages, and there's many different elements of it too. A lot of these can be looked at personally in your own life with yourself, with your relationship with God, relationship with spiritual relationship, all that kind of stuff, and can be looked at from a health and a wellness perspective. It could be looked at in business and investing, and that's that side of your life, your career, professionally. There's so many different ways that you can look at every single stage here, and then there's reflection, and then there's action steps as well. So this stage is really about taking the time to to pray, to meditate, to not only ask questions, but take the time to listen as well. And I think that's so important. I don't take this lightly. Like I said, I'm a numbers guy too. I like to be constantly doing things and looking at things and learning new things and getting my hands dirty and creating something. But at the same time, in order to make the process easier in your life, you need to do this kind of work as well. It's so important. So we're going to cover this stuff on the podcast as we have. We're going to continue to, like I said, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, accreditedlife.com. Come over to there. We have the masterminds. We take all of this a lot further than we can on the podcast. And we put you in a group of people that have had similar successes and challenges and things like that. And we can learn from each other. I think that's so important, having the accountability, but also having people to talk to and sometimes when you talk things out, what comes out of that can be absolutely amazing. And there could be things that come up that you just never would have thought, So I think it's so important that you have a friend along the way and you have people that can help you, that you can share with, and they'll share with you, and you just never know the magic that's going to happen from that type of relationships and things like that. So without further ado, let's get into the topic for today, which is living your purpose. So I kind of said it before, your purpose is kind of the culmination of everything that we've been talking about so far, right? So the foundation, everything's built on the foundation, who you are, why you are that person, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what experiences you've had and how they've shaped you, all that kind of stuff. That's your foundation. That's your values. That's your beliefs. That's your mindset. That's the person you are every day when you wake up in the morning, when you go to bed at night. That's what your foundation is. That's who you are. The vision is who you want to be, who you want to become, who you're transforming into all the time, because we're always growing and we're always having new experiences and things like that. And ideally, hopefully getting smarter on a daily basis and heading towards, more experience, more knowledge to do things better than we did the day before. That's one thing in alternative investing and real estate investing. Every day I learn something new. Every day I realize how little I know at the end of the day. And not just in business, but in life as well, and in philosophy and in religion and in spirituality. There's so many things. The more you open your mind up to them, the more you can dream, the more you can read, the more you can listen to people, listen to podcasts, listen to people talk, all that kind of stuff. You realize how little you know at the end of the day. I think it was Socrates that said that, right? And something about realizing how little at the end of the day. I think that's a very important thing to realize. And then don't get lost in all the craziness, though. That's where the next step comes in planning and in getting to reality, putting forth steps that you're going to take in order to get to where you want to be. It's very important that you talk to people, you listen to people, you do new things, have new experiences and things like that. In order to, the plan is not something you're going to put in place and then never, revise it. You're just going to follow it or something like that. I think I compared it to a schedule on a construction job or something like that. It's important to have them so that everybody's working towards a certain goal and knows what needs to get done and in what time frame. But if you've been doing that long enough, chances are it's pretty rare, if ever, that they go exactly as planned. There's always going to be things that come up. So your plan needs to be a living and breathing thing, but it's going to be a lot better for you if you have one so that you can work off of it and you can kind of ebb and flow with it and you can continue to make sure you're heading in the right direction. So I think your purpose in a lot of ways is the alignment between the foundation, the vision, and the plan. And the purpose is on so many different levels. I think in my life, I think purpose, I think from a personal manner, as a Christian, talked about this before, living a life where you're where you're making a difference. You're doing the right thing for yourself and for others. You're doing right by your family and your friends. You're helping people in as many ways as you can. You're giving back. I think that's a worthy purpose in our lives, right? Also from a personal matter, wanting to take care of yourself financially, physically, from a health and well-being perspective, mentally. I think that's a worthy purpose, to live a really, just to live your accredited life, right? To put it one way, to put it away, that's how I would say it. You might say to live your best life ever, something like that. I think that's a worthy purpose in life, to live your life the way that you want to live it, and to maybe experience as least drama as you possibly can, and to focus more on the important things in life, and to living a life that is. It doesn't mean easy, there's probably most of us, especially as accredited investors, we want challenges and we want to tackle a problem and create a solution and then share that with others. So there's a lot of purpose in that. And then within our businesses and within our investing, there can be a lot of purpose. Obviously I invest a lot in workforce and affordable housing. There's, when you get up, you have purposes, we're always, raising capital, we're purchasing assets, we're redeveloping them, we're leasing them, all these things. This is all the purpose of what it is that we do and why we do it. I think a lot of times in business, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, I want to have, $100 million in assets under management. I want to have $1 billion under management. I think to a degree, that's a worthy purpose, right? It's a fun goal to have. But at the same time, I think it's very important that you take it a few steps further than that. One thing that I always say that's important to me is I not only do I want to create an amazing business and an amazing portfolio that doesn't revolve around me, but I want to create a really great experience for our tenants. I don't want something so big or out of control that they're living in a hellhole because of it, because they can't access maintenance and tenant, their requests aren't going unread or unlistened to, and things aren't happening and stuff like that. I think it's really important to look at things from other perspectives when you look at your purpose and what it is that you're trying to do in your life or in your business. How is it affecting other people? And take your purpose to a whole nother level, because I don't want to be growing anything or creating anything that's making somebody else's life more challenging or ruining it in some way, shape, or form. I think there's the interconnectedness of myself and the world around me, and I want to be doing something positive for the people that I'm in business with, whether it be my investors or tenants, or different service providers and contractors and things like that. So I think that's a very important way to look at it as well, and not just look at things from I want to have a $1 billion portfolio or something like that. What exactly get with a purpose, you have to go a little bit deeper than that. Another thing is obviously with workforce and affordable housing, we'd like to think of what we do as a pretty powerful impact investment. And what I say all the time, and kind of our slogan, is rebuilding essential homes for essential workers in essential communities. That's what we're doing. When people ask me what we're doing, that's it. We're rebuilding essential homes for essential workers in essential communities. And I think that's a really worthy purpose. And it gets me excited to get up and to manage our funds and to raise capital and to work with investors and work with owners and brokers and every part of the process. I think that's extremely important, that you have are you making a positive impact? And it doesn't need to always be it doesn't mean if you're investing in something else, it could be that maybe doesn't have an impact on the community in that way or in people's lives that way. But it could be that the investments that you're making, like, from a diversification standpoint, you're investing in in a higher, Class A type asset or something, you're providing stability for your financial future, for the financial future of your family and potentially other loved ones and things like that. You're building a legacy. I think purpose and legacy go hand in hand. Legacy, you always think about, legacy has there's a dying factor of it. Your legacy is what you leave behind. Your purpose is what you're doing today that's building that legacy in the future. So take the time to really think about it. Like I said, take the time to align your foundation, your vision, your plan. A couple elements of a purpose that I think is really important. Like we said there, that's all about self-reflection and that kind of thing. You have to engage too. And not to promote Accredited Life one more time, I think that's a great place to do it. You have to have new experiences in order to find your purpose. Because I'm sure a lot of us, there's things, when we were a kid, we never thought we'd be investing in, real estate or growing some kind of a business or something like that. You maybe you had other hopes and dreams, and maybe you thought your purpose would be something else. As you get older, as more information comes up through different experiences and people and network and stuff like that, that's also going to help you to define your purpose, and your purpose is certainly something that's going to evolve over the years as your family evolves, as your responsibilities and as your business and your portfolio evolves and things like that. So I think engaging with your life, which we're going to talk a lot about in the coming shows when we get deeper into the stages of living your accredited life, I think it's very important that you're not shutting out new experiences, and that, in part of executing your plan, it's really living life to the fullest and engaging in new experiences and really growing your network, talking to a lot of other people and sharing with them what you see your purpose to be now, and seeing how you can help them in their purpose, and how maybe how your purpose evolves over time. So that kind of leads to the third pillar of it. So it was life engagement, life reflection, and then social feedback. I think that's really important. And that's where I would say, come over to Accredited Life, and we go over these stages, and we kind of build your plan and put things in writing and all that kind of stuff. And we could really help to nail down on what your purpose is today, and what it's been over the years, where it's at today, and where you'd like it to be, and all that kind of stuff. This is really, I think some people have a problem doing this, and I get it, because I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I'll do anything for anybody kind of a thing. I always want to help people out and share and do what I can, no matter what it takes from a time commitment or something like that. I don't know if that's a strength or a weakness of mine, but if somebody asks me for help, I'm usually a sucker to do it. That's just the kind of person I am. This is one of those things where if you're uncomfortable doing things for yourself, I challenge you to really sit down and think about what's your purpose, and really ask why. Why am I doing this? Why am I investing? Why am I in this partnership? Why am I growing this business? Why am I getting out of bed in the morning? Why am I talking to this person? Why am I going to this meeting? Finding your purpose is going to happen and reveal itself when you ask why 50 million trillion times all the time. You're going to be like a little kid, right? And just be asking why all of the time, and then taking the time to listen and to see what the answer is, and then to ebb and flow and rework your plan and your path and all that kind of stuff. If you don't maybe like the answer to what the why is, or when you do like the answer to what why is and you want to continue on that path. So you have to, I challenge you, and living the accredited life and going through these stages and taking the time to do this assessment, it is a challenge to take the time to work on yourself. Slow down for a minute around your business and your investing and things like that, and take the time to really think about these things. It's could be a lot of upfront work if you haven't done something like this in a long time. Chances are you guys do this stuff in your businesses, I would hope. This is doing it in your own personal life and doing it in your business as well. Like I said, this is multi-layered, but you really need to do this. This is like when you're at on an airplane and they tell you to put your life mask on first, or you're not going to be able to save the person next to you. You have to do that. You really need to find the time to work on yourself. Ask yourself why. Like I said, align the foundation, the vision, and the plan, all that kind of stuff, and find your purpose so that you can make the best impact in other people's lives. I think that's absolutely crucial. You're going to be an influence whether you like it or not. There's always going to be people looking towards you, whether nowadays with social media too and that kind of stuff. There's going to be people looking to you, and you are an influence. And this, I have a new niece now. She's one where anything you say, anything you do, she's picking up on it. She's throwing it back at you, stuff like that. She's like a sponge, just absorbing everything all the time. You're an influence, and you're an influence for the people around you, and I think in a lot of ways you're an antenna, bringing in what it is that you're putting out there. You get what you give, kind of a thing. So I think that's very, very, very important that you take the time, focus on yourself, put your life mask on, or air mask, whatever they call it, put it on before you put on anybody else's. And I think that it's so important that you get in the mindset of giving and volunteering and sharing your time and all that kind of stuff. That's what's going to make your life better. If you don't do it now, I challenge you to do it. Come to Accredited Life. You can start with that. Talk about what it is. Let's talk about your life. Let's talk about your investing. Let's talk about your journey. And let's see how we can get you from where you are today to where you want to be. Find your purpose, and then to live it every day. This is when you find your purpose and you're living towards it, you are going to be more fulfilled than you've ever been before. Whether you're there or not, whether you've hit all those goals you want to hit, which if you're doing it right, you're probably not going to hit everyone. If you're having fun and getting dramatic, dramatic around your dreams and things like that, you're probably not going to hit every single goal, right? Or at least not in the short term. There's going to be things that are going to be, many, many years out, maybe. If you're working towards them and you're living your purpose, you're going to be very, very fulfilled and have a lot of fun along the way. So ask yourself why, and ask yourself right now what matters most to you, and ask it from a personal perspective, from a professional perspective, from a health perspective, all that kind of stuff. And next week, in the next episode, we're going to talk about living your life, which is all about the choices you're making. Are the choices that you're making, are they bringing you closer? Are they taking you further away from your purpose and from your foundation, from your vision, from your plan, all that kind of stuff? So please do work towards living your accredited life. Do come over to accreditedlife.com. Join us on one of our future masterminds. Share with us what your story is, and help us. We'll help you to also, find out and take this kind of life assessment, and then make these goals and these dreams a reality. What a fun time I've had with you today. I really do enjoy having these conversations, and I hope this is resonating with you. You are listening to the Accredited Investors Only podcast presented by Accredited Life. I am your host, Peter Neill. Thank you very much for joining me today. Our purpose with this podcast and with Accredited Life is to teach accredited investors how to live, work, and invest as accredited investors. Thank you very much. Until next time, have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.